This is Mike Lingle from Rocket Pro Forma. So we can set up cost of goods sold, or COGS, for our physical business model, which would be inventory or manufacturing. And so at the top, if we are doing manufacturing, it asks about molds or tooling. These are things that the factory uses to produce units. And so if you want, you can purchase molds or tooling in a particular month. And then this will just show up as a capital expenditure. But this is often important for manufacturing business models. Then you have cost of goods sold for units for each of the tiers that you have active. So in this case, I have all three tiers active. I'm going to just focus on the first tier here. So this will carry down the transaction amount, which is set above. So you'll see in my units business model up here, here's that transaction amount. So I'm charging $1,000 retail with a 10% average discount. That gives me a $900 average unit sale. So in COGS, here's that $900 showing up. My landed cost, so in this case, let's say my landed cost is $400, right? And it will run some numbers below and just say, that gives me a 55% margin on each unit. I can also enter a wholesale price, and I see the margin on the wholesale price. Now I need to come up with the inventory to sell those units. So dollar start value of inventory, this just means if I have inventory already lying around at the factory, and this is the COGS price, the landed price. So let's say if I had $10,000 worth of inventory already, then that would get factored into my manufacturing plan. Then I put in the lead time in months and the months of inventory to batch per manufacturing run. This is true for manufacturing and also for, if I'm buying inventory for an e-commerce store, in which case, my time for manufacturing would be 0, but I might still have to order my inventory 2 months before I was ready to sell it. So in this case, I would have $10,000 worth of inventory lying around, and that $10,000 of inventory would be at the $400 price. Then I can add the lead time that it takes to manufacture or order my inventory, and the months of inventory that I want to hold, the months worth that I want to hold in inventory. And this obviously affects the cash that gets soaked up by the inventory. And then I can choose the inventory manufacturing approach, which could be batched, which means I'm holding lumps of inventory, but I can also do just-in-time or drop ship, in which case I'm not holding inventory. So you can set up a drop ship model pretty easily here. If I want to add a little extra buffer to the calculations, I could hold an extra month of inventory just in case. I usually don't turn this on, but feel free to experiment with it. And then I have 2 options for the inventory. In the first one, Rocket Pro Forma is going to try to predict for me. So using these settings here, I have $10,000 worth of inventory, and these are the rates at which I manufacture. Rocket Pro Forma thinks I should start my first run in month 3. It says my $10,000 is going to last for 3 months. And based on these numbers here, my lead time, I should start my first production run in month 3. And I should manufacture 73 units based on the sales estimates. And that's going to cost me $29,000. Now, that Rocket Pro Forma will just run this unless I override it. So if I override it, it defaults to the same settings that Rocket Pro Forma predicted, but in this case, I could enter my own settings. Just realize Rocket Pro Forma is looking at the sales projections based on your sales funnels up here. And so, Rocket Pro Forma is pretty smart about this, but you're welcome to do your own overriding. And you'll actually see on the income statement, if you scroll down, you can see what's happening here. Here is the predicted demand that Rocket Pro Forma is using to calculate what it thinks, how much inventory it thinks you should manufacture in each batch. And then it'll just run the batches automatically for you. And it says, okay, you're ready to go in month 1 because you have this $10,000 of inventory already. But if I took out the start inventory, you'll actually see that I'm not going to be ready to sell until month 3. So I can take orders, but they'll just go on back order until then. And you'll also see if I switch to a just-in-time model, then I don't need to do this manufacturing, and so things get a lot simpler. You'll see there are the same settings for tier 2 and tier 3, and that's it for physical COGS. So check it out and enjoy. Thanks.